Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Taylor Ray.
Hey everyone, I am James Barnett.
What's up, guys? All right, so we just finished part 11.
I just joined Bryce, Taylor, and Jarreau on the 11th installment.
And I was just on the latest episode of For Discomfort and had an amazing conversation.
And we got into it.
My three big takeaways are
My top three takeaways.
The three takeaways for me.
Let me just break them down for you really quick. So the first one is that it's super important that we realize that any issues that the Black community is facing today can be directly traced and correlated with trauma, exploitation, and the things that happened hundreds of years ago. So it's super important that people continue to educate themselves and understand that knowledge and that understanding about the past is what's currently shaping our current society and the systems that are in place.
the first one being how code switching is super damaging and harmful to Black people. If you don't know what code switching is, it's Black people kind of modifying their behavior when they're in different spaces, whether they're Black spaces or white spaces, professional spaces, social spaces. And that changing of behavior, it's so innate. It just like happens when you walk in a room, but it delays you realizing who you really are, right? You don't know like what your identity is. And then if you don't know what your identity is, it's harder for you to accept yourself, right? And so without that self-acceptance, it's like, how do you grow? How do you even like do anything in life, right? So it's really just harmful for us that we're put in these situations where we have to change who we are to get things to be accepted.
We're really thinking about mental health in our community. You know, we really are used to being kind of in group and taking care of ourselves and not reaching out for help. And that plays out more than just asking for therapy, but asking for help in general. So really thinking about the way that we show up and we always help everyone else. So how about we start showing up and helping and showing up for ourselves so that we can get the help that we need. We spend so much time fueling this country, especially Black women fueling this country, and we don't take time to refuel. So what does refueling look like for you?
The second thing being that Black people, when they are successful, that white people do not necessarily attribute their success to their greatness or to the value that they bring or the hard work that they've done, the studying, the practicing, that their success is only because, or they only got something because they are Black rather than the hard work that they put into it. And then you take that, and then on the flip side, before the success happens, you have the narrative of you're not good enough, or like Black people can't do that, you don't actually belong in the room. So Black people are navigating between these two things where you only get things because you're Black, but you're not going to get anything at the same time because you're Black. And we just grind, we do the work, we make it happen, we win, we fight, we do these things so that we can rise above all of that BS.
The second thing that is really meaningful to me is that Black mental health really matters. As someone that does have access to therapy, it is instrumental in how I process my trauma and how I therefore express that trauma. So ridding ourselves, our communities of that stigma around mental health is so important and vital, and making sure that everyone has access to mental health care is again super vital.
My second takeaway is the idea that this trauma that we're experiencing is inherited. Like we've had this come from down the line. Like we've been told for years and years that we don't belong here, and we were pulled into this place and forced to just make it work. And that has put a lot of stress and burden on us. And so we're constantly told that we're not enough or that we're too much. And we get into situations where we won't pursue things like an education because of it, because we think that we don't deserve it. We think that we're imposters in the situation, and we're absolutely not. We are meant to be in these spaces. We're meant to continue to go and to continue to lift up ourselves and our community.
The last thing I want to touch on is something that I learned from Bryce and that I have been thinking, but he put it into words in such an eloquent way, that when people say all lives matter, it's a direct affront to Black Lives Matter, especially when it's a response. It is in and of itself rhetorical, hypocritical, because we understand that if all lives matter, Black lives matter.
The last thing, and I want to thank Taylor so much for sharing her story, was just how damaging the ideas of white beauty and those beauty standards have caused for Black people, and how it has made us socialize in an era where that is the standard of beauty, and anything Black is either not beautiful or it's fetishized, right? And it's like, oh, this is exotic. And it's like, that's also just damaging to grow up in a world where you don't think that you look good, and you have to go through this whole cycle and process to actually accept yourself and be like, yes, I am attractive, I am all of these other things. So all three of those things really do fall under the umbrella of acceptance, whether it's self-acceptance or other people accepting you and your experiences and your worth. Thank you again, Bryce, for inviting me to do this call. I thought it was great, and I will see you all later.
And third is love, man. And I know that we didn't spend a lot of time talking about Black love, but when I tell you that it's something that's big and real, and it's a conversation that's coming, it's something that I just want to say is like, I start and end with praise and love, and so I thank you all for being a part of it, and I love this, what we're doing in this community, and I love Bryce because that's my boy, and thank you to Taylor and James. It's gonna be a ride, but I feel like I got 2 more people on my crew, so let's go, let's do this. I'll see you guys very, very soon.
What's up? My name is Bryce Michael Wood, and I am the host of For Your Discomfort, and part 11 went off. I think my biggest takeaway from our conversation was the necessity that we as Black people sometimes feel to code switch in white spaces in order to be successful, but also the toll that can take on our mental health, our identity, and overall authenticity as Black people in America.